Hello, Cardinal Signs, you're up. Live tarot reading for May 2026 for Cardinal Signs, starting with Aries, and then Cancer, and then Libra, and then Capricorn. Check out the description. There should be a link to the Mad Hermit Tarot page where you can sign up and message me for a free reading. And what else was I going to say? Oh, a couple events. Sunday, I'll be at the Ruby Tree in Woodbury, Connecticut, and from like 12 to 5. And then on the 16th in Torrington, Sanctuary Yoga, I'll be doing readings there to celebrate their, is it their 15th anniversary? Something like that. But there'll be more information to come on that. So, actually, no, it's the 16th. I'm sorry. It's Saturday the 16th, and it's 8:30 to, I think, 11:30, but I'll post more details about that later. All right, so let's get started. I actually, this time, I'm trying to mix it up as I go along because I'm doing experiments with the different categories of signs. The first time I did this was like super long, and then I wanted to trim it down, but I started doing Celtic crosses, which is more complicated, and that made it long again. So I went back to the 5 card and shortened it up, which is a nice, concise message. So I'm going to do a 5 card with the cardinal signs as well. And I may throw in some oracles too, so there's some different decks. Some of that are not the traditional Rider-Smith weight. I'm going to start with the Tarot of Mystical Moments. It's one of my favorite ones. There. Okay, we'll start with 5 cards for Aries. Thank you so much, Spirit, Angels, Ancestor, Guides, and Dimensional Beings. Readings for Aries. One of the best for Aries, everybody involved. Thank you so much. No reversal is divinely inspired. 5 cards, past, present, future, advice, and outcome. Thank you so much, Spirit. Let's get going. So I'm all fired up because Cardinal Signs, that is the initiators of the zodiac. Okay, so that's where all this energy is coming from. So Aries, starting is technically in April, which is the beginning of the new year. The new year truly starts, and so that's like the child of the zodiac. Always jumping into things, leaping into things, not looking where you leap, kind of. And we need that, but at the same time, learning how to look before you leap sometimes can be helpful. All right, what's in the recent past for Aries? Thank you so much, Spirit. And these are general readings, and you can follow this with your sun, moon, rising, or Venus signs will work. Venus is more towards love. Heads up. All right, what's in the recent past for Aries? Thank you so much, Spirit. Okay, so 10 of Swords. So you'll know if this is your reading if you've basically gone through it, especially mentally, where you've had to really backstabbed, betrayed, left for dead kind of stuff. So if you felt that, and it's been a rough go for a lot of us the last few years, but this is basically someone who already reached the end and is now. It's a blessing in disguise. Traditionally in the Rider-Smith weight deck, the person has got all the swords in their back. It's very gruesome. There's blood all over the place. But he's making the sign of benediction, right? And so that's like the Hierophant, right? Or the like a blessing. So basically it's a blessing in disguise. So this ending had to happen, but it was brutal. Okay. What's going on presently for Aries? Thank you so much, Spirit. Kind of match up in your life that has gone through that recently. Whether it's business or love or friendship, things like that. What is present for Aries? Whoa. Tower. All right. So we had the fixed signs readings last, and Aquarius had a pretty deep reading. And, it goes to show, these readings can go everywhere from, soul love to, puppies and rainbows and stuff like that to really serious stuff. And this is a serious reading for you, Aries. So, 10 of Swords into the Tower. So this this ending, whatever happened in your life, I'm thinking it's some sort of like a relationship to something came crumbling down in your hands while you're holding on to it. This is a great tower. So as you were holding on to whatever this was, and maybe it was for too long, maybe it was meant to end and you just didn't want it to end, you wanted to keep going another cycle, and every time that window kept on getting smaller and smaller, like say if it was a relationship and you try to rekindle it, each time it would dissolve a little bit quicker. Or it could be you trying to go back into a job that your heart's not in it anymore. And you think that just because you have the skills that you could put up with it, but then you get back into the same old kind of habits and resentments for it. Okay? So that's where you are right now. You're holding on to something that's crumbling, while you're holding on to it. But in your mind has already said that this is not for you. So in this situation, you also got the Hermit down below. And so these are all very serious cards. So basically what the Hermit is saying is that healing is on its way. But while this lesson is happening, look for the meaning in your life of why it's happening. So why are you being redirected right here? The world is changing and we have to change with it. We can't go back to our past life, even if we find another route to get there in some way, Maybe things have chilled out after the great fall right here with the Ten of Swords, and we're trying to go back to that old life, and we're finding that it's not there anymore because it's crumbled. Uranus in Taurus was basically destroying foundations, all the past foundations that we used to rely upon or that we felt that were scheduled in our lives, those vacations or those, the way we recreated, all those things. That's totally been disturbed in the past few years. We don't have to really talk about it, but what we have to realize that it's over and that we need to create the new, okay? And that sometimes it's the hardest thing because there is no book for where we are. I mean, there are esoteric books, but a lot of people don't want to read those. But basically, we're in the middle of a reset, right? And we're resetting into a different type of technology. So Uranus is going to Gemini now, which means there's going to be like revelations on like new technologies and communication and things like that. So you can imagine, I was young, we had the phone cord that was in the wall, and now we have, everybody's got cell phones all over the place. Think of that kind of leap. All right, what's in the near future for Aries? Six of Cups. So, in this context, this is you romanticizing the past and wanting to go back to that love or that innocent vibe from the past. I'm going to clarify these too. It's going to be very important to do that. But this is someone who is basically, his world is crumbling and they're like playing movies of those good times in the past while they're fighting still. And it's toxic the more that you fight the devil here. So Aries, like the stubbornness of like wanting to keep charging, it's kind of like let yourself dissolve. As a Pisces myself, kind of giving you advice. I may not want to hear this right now, but basically surrender. Surrender to the change and look for its meaning and where it's directing you. Okay, what's the advice for Aries? Just like I said, new beginning, the Fool. So the advice that Spirit's giving you in the midst of this like massive like garbage storm, or like how everything is like just it's kind of like I've been this theme of the never ending story. I saw this YouTube when they're looking at the esoteric principles of that movie, the symbolism in those things, and the Joseph Campbell kind of hero's journey situation too. But basically, kind of like the Never, that is like the antagonist in the movie that comes and like is the destroyer of that world, especially when the beliefs have died, and that's when the world dies. And that doesn't mean that we should like all of a sudden start believing in it again to like reform it. It means the belief is over because we're looking behind the curtain. Like say for this society or our environment where we live, we're kind of peeking through the curtain right now, and it's not all pretty. And it's what it is dissolving our concept of what our reality was. So that's what's happening in your life in some sort of way. I mean, this could just be in general. It doesn't have to be like relationship or work focused. Just what you're going through at this time, which is dissolving of who you are to then initiate the new. And this is definitely a theme going on too. And yeah, so there's death here too. I'm talking about it, which is transformation. And confirmation, Ace of Swords underneath. It's the truth. Okay. This is all going together, and it's actually, Spirit is just, dragging you to the new, whether you like it or not. And you're kind of looking back at some of the past with like rose-colored glasses. Wasn't all good. What's in the outcome for Aries? Whoa. It's dropped all the cards. That happens. Alright. Give me a second. This is normally where I pause, but these things happen. And this is live. This does happen in person, too. All right. Sorry about that, Aries. I like to think that there's some sort of cosmic reason for that. That, maybe it's because your life right now is such a mess, and the cards are a mess, and that happened, like, suddenly, and you're kind of longing for how it was. So, definitely getting a dramatic ending here. But there's a great new beginning with the Fool. Okay, one second. It's like very suspenseful because we're at the last card. That happens. Let's do a quick shot. A couple cards are sticking out too. After healing, there could be wish fulfillment. All right, what is the outcome for Aries? Six of Swords. Perfect. So this is really dramatic in the beginning. We go from total betrayal, just swords all over the place. It's in her beehive right there, right? And that leads to the Tower, right? Everything crumbling. You missing the past and reminiscing of those beautiful times. But then Spirit saying, hey, it's time to begin again. And the Six of Swords is basically, they leave with just the clothes on their back and they go to calmer shores. So after this big turmoil, this big incident right here, everything's going to work out fine. You're going to feel suspended, though, with the Hangman underneath the deck. Okay? So you've got a little bit of time to recover, all right? And take this time, basically, to let go of the past. I mean, you have to be a new person. You're going to have to, think of new ways of being, new ways of seeing, of how to interact with people in relationships. This is serious, internal work with this Tower right here with the Ten of Swords. So whatever ended in your life, that area of your life needs to dramatically change, and you need to go into the new. Okay? All right. Let's go into... I want to get a couple of clarification cards here. So I'm just going to go to a regular Rider-Waite here. And I want to clarify what this Tower is. Actually, let's just go down the board because this is really interesting and a seriously powerful reading for you, Aries. Why is the Ten of Swords here, Spirit? Thank you so much. Angels, ancestors, guides, and dimensional beings. Clarification for Aries. No reversal of style inspired. Why is the Ten of Swords here? So this dramatic ending was something in the home life. Okay? So something that you treasured, that was a part of your foundation, that was definitely emotionally giving to you in some sort of way. It actually turned around and hurt you. And it actually, your love for it became more and more disappointing. And you just couldn't put it together anymore. What is the Tower, Spirit? If it's not your reading, that's cool. Go to the other signs. But if this is your reading, then it definitely meant a lot to you. And you like, see how she's holding that pentacle like a baby? This was basically what was ripped from you. And that peaceful, serene feeling became the Tower, which is the explosion. More on the Tower, Spirit. Confirmation. Tower. All right, so it was definitely something about love here. Something that you had romanticized. And, you know, we saw with the Six of Cups, too, is that this Tower was basically, you know, most likely a relationship situation where you were in love with it and it totally crumbled in your hands. You saw something. You discovered something in this situation. So, yeah, I mean, if it's not your reading, it's not your reading. But if it is, then you're meant to see that. You're meant to have that crumble right in front. Because what that happens is that will, like, change the way that you love in the future. That doesn't mean that you won't be able to love in the future. But what it will mean is you'll love in a different way. You'll first love yourself, and then you'll give to someone else, because you want the foundation to be always protected, okay? You don't want to give too much of yourself and then it's destroyed and you go with it, right? You have to be a sovereign person with another sovereign person. When you do this kind of stuff, that's why when the Tower happens, everything washes out. It's kind of like Brennifer, or what are those, what was the Bradifer? I don't. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? When they used to mix the names of the Hollywood celebrities. You don't want to do that because this situation happens. We already did it. I mean, it already happened. What about the Six of Cups, Spirit? But that's the lesson to learn, because you're going to love differently now. You'll actually love more deeply because it'll be more about love of, like, an individual person versus the situation. Six of Cups, Spirit. Queen of Swords. So this is where you have to set your boundary. Now, set your boundary from someone in the past, too. So this could be a recurring relationship that you just let in, and it goes out, and then you let it back in. You're going to basically have to put up your sword now and protect yourself in the future. The sword, which is the mind, protects the heart, which is the cup. Okay, the sword always protects the cup. So your mind is going to be telling you and giving you those intuition signals like, this isn't right. This is a red flag. You know, those technical red flags that you see right now, and your heart's like, oh, it's okay. It's going to be fine. I would not be that way, okay, in this situation. I would go with the technicalities, and if it doesn't look right, then it's not right. And it's not right to you either way. I mean, it's because it's always your perspective, right? You're never going to truly know what's in... Actually, this is a great story. Basically, I was watching like a reel or something, and they're talking about like loving someone else, and I basically got in my mind that if you are alone, you are 100% know how that person feels, because that person is you. You'll never truly know what another person is thinking or what their intentions are. I mean, you can go with the surroundings and, you know, people will pledge themselves and all that great stuff, but that changes over time, you know, and you'll never know how that's changing for the other person, even if you have perfect communication. But the one thing you'll always know is yourself, right? And your love for yourself, which is always present. So that's what you should always protect. You know, love yourself first and then give out to someone else. But if that's being compromised, what you give out to someone else, that's when you need to pull back and protect yourself, right? And it always means that when you are alone, you're never truly alone because you're at 100% love. You're always at 100% love when you see yourself that way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it basically clears up the situation where, you being alone is not being without love, because you with yourself, there is true love in that sense. But it's cool to be with other people too. All right, the Fool. What's the advice with the Fool? The Hermit. Okay, so it's saying get out of your cave, and with this knowledge that you've learned, you're basically going to have to go and try again. But let what happened be a teaching lesson. Okay, this is a master teacher here, but he teaches after he's gone through the dark night of the soul and the pain, and he brings out the hope of the beginning again. Okay, so have the hope. Once you face your monsters in that cave and you come back out, and you're starting anew, basically have that hope again so you can show people how you changed and how you dealt with that situation. Because your vibration's going to change, okay? Because it has to be new. And there's a Nine of Pentacles under here too, which again goes to my thing of if you're alone, you're 100% with the person that truly loves you. So you should feel totally comfortable and happy, okay? And that will make a connection in the future even better, because it's not done out of desperation and, falseness. And you're not going to be compromising yourself during the situation either, so it'll be more true. If it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. Even if, you try to hold on to it, then you're just getting, it's like let go or be dragged, right? All right, Six of Swords. What's going on with that in the future? Thank you so much, Spirit. Chariot. So this is happening fast. So you're going to heal really quick. And of course, you're Aries. You're going to change direction. You're a cardinal sign, so you cardinal directions. You're going to change your direction quick and go. But don't romanticize the past when you leave. Okay? Just let it go, because the part of you that was with that person is gone too. All right. So that's Aries. I'm trying to I know that we're probably over 10 minutes already. I was trying to keep this a little bit slimmed down, but I've got to do what I got to do. But I definitely want to start mixing things up too. So now we're with Cancer. And with Cancer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some oracles. So I'm not going to read the same for everybody. And if, leave a comment, feel free to message me if for your sign you want something different. The beauty of starting fresh and starting with, low numbers of followers and things like that is I can do things like this. When things get more popular in the future, and I just don't have the capacity, or I have to set things a little bit differently. But now's a really flexible time, so I have to do different things. So definitely send me a message if you want something in particular, and I can kind of gear readings towards that. Because I plan on doing these every month, but I also want to do I think in the middle of May I'm going to do love readings too. The spring fever. All right, I'm going to start with Cancer, but I'm going to get some oracles out of the Alice in Wonderland deck. It's right here. So we're going to maybe get a general theme. It's just like a footnote to the reading. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the whole reading, but let's just see what's going on with Cancer. All right, angels, ancestor guides, and spiritual beings, readings for Cancer. Only best for Cancer are one of all. Thank you so much, Spirit. No reversal is divinely inspired. Let's get some oracles for Cancer. What's going on? Mortality. Okay, so that's a big theme. Now, mortality, of course, we think about life and death, right? But everything is transformation. Okay, so let's play the game of there is no death. Right? Only transformation, meaning that once energy is created, it can never be destroyed. So with mortality, that just becomes change. It doesn't mean something's ending. It means it's evolving. So that's on your mind right now, Cancer. I have a Cancer moon, too. And Jupiter is actually in Cancer right now. So abundance is going to be hitting us, too. And also, if you're a Cancer sign, with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, I know I've gained some weight. I don't know about you, but it's kind of it's the moon sign, right? So the moon, when the moon's full too, I mean, you probably gain a little more weight too. I'm totally feeling this right now. So I'm like waiting for my abundant prize. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I gotta, stop at the ice cream and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. What else is going on for Cancer? But yeah, so Jupiter in Cancer brings a lot of gifts and those things, but the expansion of that in your sign could cause you to gain a little weight right now. It could be totally. And if you're not like a Sun Cancer, you have a Cancer in a different area, that's a totally valid excuse right now. All right, what else is next, Spirit? I'm going to drop these cards too. All right. Lead the way. Okay, so cardinal sign again. So the cardinal signs now have to start leading the way. All right, you are creating the direction going forward. Okay. And again, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus, any of those placements in your chart, get a free astrological chart. You can get it online. Just know your birth time and location, and it'll say if where Cancer is on your chart. This is what this reading is affecting. So basically, it's you you accepting life for what it is, not worrying about death, about how things are going to transform. You're here now. And so while you're here now, you're going to transform within this life. So even within one life, we are constantly living and dying. Okay, we do that every day when we wake up and we go to sleep. That's the metaphor for life and death. And we wake up into a different life. We wake up into a different day. Okay, it's the same theory. And then over your life, you're going to find yourself transforming that way as well. So you're just in the middle of another change. It's nothing different than that. But what Spirit is saying to you is that you need to become a leader now. Okay? And say you had Cancer Moon like myself, it would be an emotional leader. So it's showing people how to have emotions, or how to, that internal life, how to represent that in a positive way. But if it's Sun sign, then it's leading the way, like emotionally leading the way directly in your life, whether it's career or home. Okay, last one for Cancer. Okay, nonsense. It's time to talk sense. Okay, so this is when she has that part, Alice has that part in the court where she, challenges the queen. Okay, so you're challenging the queen at this time. Okay, and you're challenging the queen based on what is life and death, and what impact are you going to make during this day of life. Okay, so that's really heavy. Just like Aries has too. But as you notice with Aries had a dramatic change in direction. You have a dramatic change in direction, but it's almost become a leader. Aries had like this monumental like disaster happen in their life and forced them into a different direction. You're actually changing with your heart, because your heart is saying, I don't know how much time I have left with mortality right here. What am I going to do? Am I just going to sit and watch everybody else live life? Or am I going to lead the way and show them how to live life by saying, it's time, this is my shot to leave my mark on this life. Right? Okay. All right, just some general cards for the beginning. Now let's get into the tarot. And for Cancer, I've got this, the Tempest deck, which is like my pirate deck. All right, Cancer. 5 cards, past, present, future, advice, and outcome. This is a general reading. We'll possibly do love readings in the middle of the month. But for this one, it's general. But find the theme and how it relates to your life. If it doesn't fit, then don't force it. Just find a different placement. All right. If it does fit, though, give me a like. Go to the Mad Hermit Tarot Facebook page and follow that for new notifications on events and videos and all that stuff. All right, what's in the recent past for Cancer, Spirit? Angels, answers, guys, and spiritual beings. Thanks so much. Okay. So this is like family fulfillment and love. Maybe that mortality card was there because everything was so good and you're getting freaked out that you're going to die. Or not you're going to die, but like that things are going to change, right? And things will die. You know, like this is such a great moment. It can't last forever. 10 of Cups. You know, when things are really good, sometimes that's like the biggest curse, right? Because you're like, I'm peaking right now. You know, it can't. So that's where the mentality has to change. Hopefully, I'm going to look at the advice card, but I'm thinking, you know, the way to counteract that, of course, is, you know, we have this humility or this built-in shame for achievement. I think it's social conditioning when we're younger, especially to fit into the way that society wanted to be, which is like, you know, bureaucratic kind of corporatism, kind of, you know, don't be an individual kind of thing. That's all changing right now. It's kind of going to be a duality between like being in the community, but at the same time being an individual within the community. But going back to this reading overall is basically you're learning how to not focus in on, you know, being guilty for your achievement, but asking spirit for more. Like there's always a higher level that we can achieve personally. Whatever matrix we're in, or whatever the next matrix is going to be. When I say matrix, I'm meaning like the new society that's being created right now. It's an exciting time. I mean, we've had society change before, so this is not like, even in our lifetimes, you know, I'm 50, but I can remember when our culture was more repressed. Even in the 80s, there were certain things that where they pushed certain limits, but there's also a big backlash on different lifestyles and things of that nature. And then that was blown up in the 90s, and then it kind of became a commercial, you know, and they wanted to sell it, and it goes into advertising and all that stuff, and then it becomes gentrified, right? Or like the Disneyfication of it, right? But now what's happening is that's actually going away, and people are kind of waking up to the advertisement and saying, this is what they want me to be in order to spend money, but who do I really want to be? You know? All right, so what's present right now for Cancer? So just to kind of recap, is basically things are really good for you right now, and you're feeling kind of shame for it, but basically ask Spirit for more, because Spirit's abundant, but you have to ask. It's like a vampire, you got to invite it in. Meaning, you know, thank you, Spirit, for that. Show me new ways of increasing this and maintaining this. And, well, not just maintaining it, but actually getting to higher levels. What is present for Cancer? The world. So this is where the completion is. Happiness, like love and happiness, and then you feeling that you've basically graduated from that stage, and you're kind of sad to see that stage go. But you've got to transform it into the new. The only constant in life is change, Cancer. That's hard for Cancer because you're in the shell, right? You got the gooey inside, but the hard exterior shell, and you're protecting yourself. And Cancer's can be vicious, you know. I mean, especially if it's feeling threatened, all right, and it jumps, burrows underneath the sand and stuff like that. But you're actually being cast out into the open and being challenged to change because the cycle's over. You've achieved all you had to do in that contract. Whether that was a person, place, or thing. What's in the near future for Cancer? King of Cups. Great. So, you need to realize in the future is basically, see the slab right here. He's in the middle of a stormy sea. All the waves are going on around him. Traditionally, this card's a little bit different. But right here is this, it's kind of like, actually... It's kind of like a sandbar right here, and all the water's filling around him, but he's completely content because you've established in your life that you've gotten here already. So even if the environment changes, that doesn't change who you are. You're still going to achieve a certain level in any environment. Okay? Your heart is stabilized, and the Ace of Swords are underneath. So you know how to fight your way to the top. What's the advice for Cancer, Spirit? Six of Swords. So this is the second Six of Swords that we've gotten. We had it with Aries too, which I'm going to kind of like do like a really basic understanding of this card. It's to say that the hard times are over, and the mental stress and the strife and getting your butt kicked mentally, whether you're doing it to yourself or it was, other people playing head games with you, that's over. This person's like going right outside the cave and it's going to enter the sea, but the feeling of trapped, within that cave and not seeing the sun, and the free ocean, that time is done. Okay. Seven of Swords. It could be because before things got good, they were really bad, and so when you got something good, you wanted to hold on to it because you didn't think you deserved it. You got it by luck. But what this is saying is that you're the King of Cups. You didn't get this by luck. You've got this because you earned it emotionally. You're able to keep your shit together during high emotional times. And so now Spirit's going to bless you with something bigger. Okay, so it's saying don't freak out. What is the outcome for Cancer? And that goes with Jupiter being in Cancer too. And that's until Jupiter goes into Leo in July. So you've still got some time. And usually towards the end of the cycle is when the gifts are dished out. So get ready for more gifts. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's a Cazimi, which I believe it's like Mercury and the Sun. And it's like one of the most beneficial times of the year. And that's mid-month, this month. So it's really good for, changes in your life. Things like that. If you need to take a gamble, literally or figuratively, middle of the month. Cazimi. All right, what's the outcome, Spirit? Cancer. Eight of Swords. So the way the energy is right now, and this is why tarot is not, it's not all, like a predictive dreamland, where it's going to make you work. Because what this is saying right now is that your head, like the way that this is affecting you, the cycle ending and things being so good in the past, the recent past for you, it's going to paralyze you. You have analysis paralysis with the Eight of Swords. So the good news is this is minor arcana, and I'll clarify to see if we can get a better, it's up to you basically. You have to rise above this feeling of mortality, and you have to lead the way, all right, and not cower in the past. A lot of people they'll look at old pictures and old ways of being, clinging to that because they thought it was a sense of comfort. When if you looked at the good and bad of that time and not the romanticism of it, you would understand that even in every era there's good and bad. Okay, so don't psych yourself out thinking that what is new is automatically going to be bad. Okay. And the Five of Cups is underneath too. So I'm going to clarify, I'm going to get one more card on this. But basically the story is on this one is that the Three of Cups that are spilling out right here for you is basically, it's like losing your taste for wine. Not you're bummed that the cups have spilt, but that even if they were upright and you enjoyed it, like if you enjoyed this love of the past, the cycle is closed. So you're not going to feel the same anymore. You're going to feel differently, the King of Cups here, because you have more security emotionally. You're not going to feel that high and low of a situation. You're actually going to be more steady. And that's what takes you emotionally to the next land outside of this cave. But you're going to be really freaked out by it. And you're kind of going to close yourself off like a Cancer would. Okay? So what Spirit is saying is you need to go forward. You need to take yourself of who you are. Not like your identity, but like your frequency. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't take Michael with me. I would just take the frequency of who I am, because I'm not going to be the same person going forward, if that makes any sense. And we do that from life to life. Like, I'm not going to be, in the next life, I'm not going to be Michael. I'm going to be somebody else, right? but I'm going to have the same energetic framework that I'm going to be going with in the next life that I need to build upon. Okay? Or the energetic framework. And that's actually relieving when we think about it, because think of all the baggage that you have that you don't even relate to anymore. And I think a lot of people are finding that in their life. They're so disenchanted because society has changed. Like, who am I in this new society? But look at it the opposite way. It's perspective, right? The perspective can be that I get a whole new chance to be a whole new person. And I get to choose versus the social construct I was given, because of my socioeconomic status. Maybe I was born into a poor family, and therefore I had that poor family identity. But then I changed, but I was always known as that poor family anyways. Now everything's wiped out, right? Okay, that's cool. I think I'm gonna leave it at that because I did the oracles beforehand. All right, so let's go back to tarot. Let's go straight tarot. All right, and we are now at Libra. All right, Libra. Been seeing a lot of the major arcana for Libra, justice around for a lot of signs, and basically that's like everybody evening up their karma. The scales are becoming balanced again, okay, of who we are. Because we've all been through it, and so now we're all starting anew. All right, let's go, Libra. And I'm using, for this one, I'm going to use my horror deck. It's not that gruesome. It's actually really cool. This one, Scott Alcott. I like this one. But you open it up, it's got the blood on it. What happened? Images are good, but it's skull heavy. But it's transformation, That's what I'm seeing right now with the Cardinal Signs. Transformation is good. It's all symbolic. All right. So I'm just getting this quick shuffle. Couple things. I'm going to be at the Ruby Tree this Sunday, and sign up for the Mad Hermit Tarot Facebook page and message me for a free video reading. And I'm doing the 16th for Sanctuary Yoga's anniversary. I'm going to be doing $10 reads from like 8:30 to 10 or 11:30 at Sanctuary in Torrington. Great studio. I have to get back to doing yoga. My schedule changed. I have plenty of excuses. That's part of it, but that's going to be my getting back to it. I said it on camera, so now I have to do it because I'm going to watch this video again and it's going to remind me. All right, what's in the recent past for Libra Spirit? Thank you. Angels, Ancestors, Guides, and Torrential Beings readings for Libra for May 2026. General reading. What's in the recent past for Libra? Thank you so much, Spirit. Oh, one other thing. So just so you know, what I'm doing right here is basically I'm taking the energy of the collective in this sign, and I am channeling. So that's what I do, right? So I read the cards themselves, but the way that the cards are happening, so you see how the synchronicities of the cards, how they're pulled, that's the clearness of my channel. And that's my gift, where the cards are coming out of the energy, and part of my gift too is then to explain that, and then with all the knowledge and the books I've read over the 20 years that I've been studying all the esoteric and occult things and all different types of practices. So you name it, I've looked at it and followed different things and explored different ways. So. And actually worked, doing meditation, in groups and things like that. So when I'm mentioning those things, it's things I've gone through and done. But basically me acting as a channel, putting the story out, explaining it to you, what the potentials are, what to look out for, and maybe some, techniques to help with that situation. Okay, that's kind of how I operate when I have a client directly. It's not just the fortune telling, entertainment part. I mean, that's a great part of it. But for me, it's also a meditation, and that's what the symbolism of the cards are doing. These ancient symbols, what they're doing is they're bringing out the questions in your mind that you need to solve. You can't just have someone put a Band-Aid on for you. You have to solve it mentally and go through it. When you unlock those things, that's what changes your being, and your attitude, and your knowledge, and your way of movement. Yeah, a little spiel there. All right, Libra, what's in the recent past? The Nine of Wands. See him like pushing against the door and the monster's coming through. There's a big hand right here. So you've been through it. A lot of people have been through it. This is like a total disaster zone of signs. I know how it is. I mean, I had Pisces. I had Saturn in my sign. My whole life was deconstructed. But this is basically you surviving. All right, it's the wounded warrior. So you're still... look at the Ten of Swords was there too. That's not because these guys on vacation gets 10 swords on. All right. So you're understanding basically the fighting of the battle. The battle of life. It's pretty intense right now. But that just creates diamonds, right? That's the saying, pressure creates diamonds. What's the present spirit? Oh, all right. 5 of Pentacles. All right. So this is the abandonment card, okay? This is also, this is a change in direction where you're gonna build a stronger foundation in yourself and confidence by, unfortunately feeling bad about yourself and feeling sorry for yourself. So you can skip that part of it. The way that you could skip that part where you go into that big mope, right? The way to get through that without going there, and listening to all the sad music and woe is me and stuff. Not saying that that's not deserved, but the way that you can get out of it when you're tired of that is basically changing your perspective to have gratitude. Okay, so if you still got food in your belly, you got the lights on, start with the positives in your life and build off of that versus the negatives that are holding you back. It's kind of like changing your perspective, right? Get to the ground level and then build up. Okay? Because it looks like, things can't get much worse. So don't get worse in your mind just to make it. A lot of it is perspective too. Your energy and what you attract. So like people think like there's that book back in the day, The Secret, right? And you're like, oh my God, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, and keep on thinking it. That's not the way that attraction happens. You attract by being. You attract what you are, not by wishing. The stronger the wish is not going to bring it to you. It's actually you being, and in you being that is attracting what is likeness to you. Okay, so if you feel sorry for yourself, you're going to attract negativity. Okay, if you feel abundant, then you're going to attract positivity. So you have to understand, at least if you don't believe it, take a risk and try it. Basically, this world is not just, the kind of physical kind of world. There's also a whole other spiritual world that interacts with you, but you have to open your channel, just like I'm doing here. You have to have faith enough. It comes down to like a cheesy 80s movie. You got to believe, right? It's the same thing. And you believe in life, and then you attract, okay? It's been in front of our face the whole time, and they make it corny and just so we don't believe it. We just think it's cute. But that's actually how life works. Think about when someone walked into a room and you feel that they are totally confident. Or you you fall in love with someone not because of how they look, but the energy that they put out. It actually changes how they look, right? So that's kind of like what this is saying to you. Give up the ghost and move on. Let that creature in the door and just move on. And just walk out the room, basically. The one that's trying to fight through here. Just give it up. And it seems like those people that circle the church in the 5 of Pentacles, it's because they're too stubborn to walk into the door. Because you can always walk into a church. There's something that they're trying to prove. It's just hurting themselves. All right, what is in the near future for Libra? I'm sorry, that's a little brutal. I know I'm not trying to get all nasty with you, Libra. I'm sorry, it's one card comes. Shuffling has been a little bit crazy today. What's in the near future for Libra? 10 of Pentacles. So I think if you face that 5 of Pentacles, that, that abandonment, maybe you were abandoned, maybe it sucked, and maybe it was, awful. But going forward, you have the choice whether to relive that in your mind or to actually rise above it. And what you do is you release the people that abandoned you, which is the 6 of Swords right here. The person's like taken to the swamp. That was the same thing in Cancer too. 6 of Swords was the release. And that's in your mind. That's when you change the perspective of the situation. Like, I'm so glad I'm not around those people now anyways. They're so negative. And it sucked when it was happening because I had a lot of pride and I didn't want anybody to leave me because how dare they? As a Libra would say. But like, at the same time, them leaving was the best thing that could have happened. All right. What's next? What's the advice for Libra? Thank you so much, Spirit, Angels, and Ancestor Guides. King of Pentacles. Okay. So you're actually gaining control here. So your current situation right now, as long as you actually, change your perspective in your mind and start again and, leave everybody behind and actually leave your pride behind with it and just begin again and say, this is life, this is how it goes, and I'm transforming, then you actually, Spirit blesses you with abundance. At the same time, you actually control that abundance in a very responsible way, and that leads to victory, which is the 6 of Wands, the they live card. All right, what is the outcome for Libra? Angels, ancestors, what's the outcome? Outcome's the Chariot, which is victory. Now, the important thing about this Chariot is basically, in the traditional card, he's got the 2 Sphinxes in front of him, which is like I think it's the mind and it's the soul and the body, like, that's controlled with the mind, right? So it's like the Trinity is created between the 3, between the Charioteer and the White Sphinx and the Black Sphinx. And the Charioteer is actually controlling the chariot with his or her mind out of the current city into the new. And so it's a movement into the new. So you're leaving the abandonment behind. You're actually being successful in your movement. All right. So if there's any kind of like money in the situation or whatnot, you're going to get it all. And then you're going to control it in a responsible way because you're very skilled, I'm seeing here. And that's why this, this lack of confidence and this kind of like, it's it's definitely a lack of confidence, but it's like a victim mentality. Once you release that and you like hold your power, the Chariot's right here to take you forward in victory. Yeah, King of Cups underneath too. We saw that in the Cancer reading with the King of Cups right in the middle. So a lot of what the cardinal signs right now, the key is controlling your emotions and changing your perspective to match your emotion, or using your perspective to manipulate your emotion in a positive way, right? So you're going to look at the situation that happened as not this defeat, but almost like the middle of a Rocky movie where he takes like a massive beatdown and then he goes into training and then it's this great climax at the end and he gets everything, right? So that's basically where you have to think about it. So dramatize your life, not in a sad way, in a mopey way, but actually as setting up your greatest victory, because that's what you're heading towards. Okay. All right. So let's get some clarification really quick. Let's get a regular tarot deck. I used that one already. Let's go with this one. All right. Angels, ancestors, guides, and dimensional beings. Clarification for Libra. Wow, so we got this one, and then we're going to do Capricorn. And we're done with the cardinal signs. Okay. All right, I want to clarify the past, the present, which is present going into like the future. So it's kind of, these two kind of go together. You know, the lack. This is like the big turnaround gain. I want to figure out how that happens. And then a little bit of clarification on your victory. So one each. So 3 cards, Spirit. Thank you so much. What's going on with this past where the monster's coming through the door, the wounded warrior, feeling sorry for yourself, stuff like that, all about Spirit. No reversal of time and Spirit. Thank you so much. This was in a family situation. Something that you loved dearly ran out on you. And you're fighting to maintain the passion or like your place in it. So whether it's a job you loved, a relationship you loved, it's something where there was a family situation, and you're holding on to the part that you're holding on to it, even though it didn't appreciate you in a certain way. But you were holding on to it, but out of fear, and it abandoned you in some sort of way. All right, why is this good for them? Why does it turn into the 10 of Pentacles, Spirit? I mean, you know, part of this reading may be for you, maybe it's part of the message, maybe it's not. I mean, some of these are getting a little bit particular down the line, so what's the 10 of Pentacles into the King of Pentacles? Ace of Wands. So you abandon the past for a new beginning here. Because basically the hand of God is coming out with the spark, all right, which is the wand here, of passion. You regain your passion and your control of that passion. Okay? Yeah, your love with the other ace underneath. Ace of Cups. All right. So you're done. So as the family life in the past was basically like a nightmare situation that didn't make you feel good about yourself for some sort of reason. That's all changing. And you're getting this better confidence and this spark again. And it's leading you to the Chariot. What's the Chariot all about, Spirit? Queen of Wands. Perfect. So basically the Queen of Wands is someone who, she's not afraid of having a black cat here. She's basically being her bold self because she works with spirit. She's not afraid of getting burned. So the black cat right here is basically symbolizing that back in the day, if she had a black cat, she was a witch, right? And she could have been burned at the stake. But she doesn't care. She puts out her black cat. She says, come get me. And right here, all the court cards of the wands normally have salamanders to guard against fire. She doesn't have that. So she takes on all the passion. She leads with her passion. She knows she's going to go, it's either going to burn her up, you know, and she'll become a phoenix and rise above it. You know, it's not going to hurt her either way. Because she knows, because she works with spirit. That's why the sunflowers are here. Spirit provides the sun that energizes her life, right? And so the sun, she leans towards the sun because she knows that there's no death. You know, spirit guides the way and guides it with passion. It's basically saying too, like, for you to walk into that room with that confidence of being yourself and your passionate self, not feeling abandoned like you did in the past because of what went wrong. Basically, actually accepting that defeat as a victory, turning it all around, making it into that Rocky movie, right? Where that's what created the dramatic situation that shows the dramatic rise, which is up to you. Because you're, right now in this moment, you're gaining control passionately in what you want and what you want to be. So let the past go and look at it as something that elevated you and not something that you should be ashamed of. Okay, because we all have to come from somewhere, right? This is like a sorceress too. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is basically a master manifester. So we manifest through energy, right? We manifest, and the magician is holding the wand and basically taking the ether and taking the energy through the wand and then directing it into the life, right? And that's what she's doing too. She's taking the rays of the sun and creating life with the sunflowers here. And she's doing it her own way, the individualism of the cat. So that's where you have to abandon the social norms that you did and basically create your own religion or connection with spirit in order to clear up your channel so spirit can then manifest through you. And you have to do that with the faith, like we talked about the cheesy 80s movie, the Believe kind of thing. Just like Rocky, right? I guess that's the theme, right? I mean, he's got to have that moment, right, where he rises above the training and then, you know, the music comes on and he just goes and fights. But death is here. I mean, again, we talked about death before. All that is just change, okay? And emotionally, you're actually developing into someone who loves differently too, because you're going into a higher wish fulfillment phase with your love. You're going to expect more. Just remember, as you change, and this is kind of like a key to the death card, is basically the only thing that survives death. Look at the king dies, so wealth is going to, you know, we can't bring it with us, right? And then the girl right here, she dies too, which is you can't take necessarily what youth with you, right? But what does survive is faith. See, the Pope is there. Purity, right, which is the flag right here, which is the white rose. And innocence, which is the child right here that doesn't suffer. Okay? So as we go forward, take your innocence, meaning don't take the shame from the past. Take your faith and spirit, like we talked about this right here. Okay? And transform. And you'll transform successfully with these cards right here. So however it is bad right now, change it into like, go into your ego, boost up your ego, and create the new ego that is more confident. Okay? It's all your perspective. That's all this world is. It's like your own self-advertising, right? Advertising can make anything sound good. And that's what it truly is if you believe it. It's what you believe. That's what strengthens your frequency. You know, because the universe doesn't care about like good or bad. We need both good and bad. We need the white, we need the black, the duality, right? It cares about whether you are confident, which is your frequency, your strength of frequency. If you're shaky and you're unsure, then Spirit's not going to give you anything because it's just going to fall. But regardless, be yourself and be strong in that and be the difference. You know, we don't need all robots all over the place. We have plenty of those. We need individuals to make life better, because now that the whole entertainment business is changing and everything, we're going to need individuals again in order to like create that, especially within communities. That's for another day. All right, so let's go to the last sign, Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. I'm going to go. This is a fun deck, the Dead Inside deck. I'm going to get some cards to see what's going on with Capricorn. So this could be, I don't know, maybe you feel dead inside like a lot of us do. It's okay. But it's good to actually feel dead inside because Pluto is in retrograde, in Aquarius, I believe. And what that's doing is that's digging everything up. So, especially I think for Scorpio too. I mean, you're going through it, and there's no way around it. But for all of us in general, what's happening is basically Pluto is going out and bringing everything to the surface. It's kind of like breaking down. It's kind of like not mulch. I can't the gardening thing where we throw everything into the bin and then it breaks down. Composting, right? So it's basically happening with all our emotions, like being like drudged up in order to be relieved. Okay, So let everything come out. Let it actually kind of fertilize the new. And then release it, because you're not the same person. Might as well like call yourself a different name or something. That's how we're all going through it, because we're going to be into a new world anyways. Don't confuse yourself. You get lost in like a past timeline. It's not a good idea. All right, what's so for Capricorn, angels, ancestors, guides, and dimensional beings, readings for Capricorn for the month of May. No reversal is divinely inspired. Let's get some oracles to start with. So what's happening with Capricorn? These oracles are pretty funny, so I'm just kind of letting loose on this one a little bit. And, you know, Capricorn's probably going to hate that because you like to have things so structured, but that's what I'm doing. That's right. For a change. I was reading one of the comments, the Stone Temple Pilots song, which is true. Birthday could be any day. Release into a new life. All right, what's going on? It's too much overstimulation, panic, and mental overload. Okay? So maybe you're feeling a little bit too much, a little sensory overload. It's okay. That also goes with, you know, what's happening in the world. Like, everything's getting thrown at us. Like, we got, like, ticks, we've got, you know, global war, we've got gas prices. Like, I mean, you gotta laugh. After a while, you just gotta say, well, this is the script right now, right? I mean, as much as we want to protest and stuff, it really comes down to a lot of it, I think, this is just my personal opinion. This is just like, kind of like the environment that's being presented to us. Should we change it? How can we change it? I'm not sure. But regardless, how much power do we really have? The only power we have is for ourselves. Like, ultimately, we be the example, right? If we don't give something attention, then it doesn't grow. It's when we, like, have some diluted attention or something and changes our perspective, which then changes our movie, right? It starts to dim the movie and make it dark and stuff. We can actually have a great perspective. I mean, they say that with like prisoners in like a cage. It's basically, the cage is actually, you could be free in your mind, whatever cage that we're in. All right, and we're definitely in some sort of cage right now. That could be opening up, actually, right? Could just be a freak out before the freedom. All right, I'm kind of channeling, so I'm not sure what I'm saying, but hopefully you get something out of that. All right. Enlightened for 4 hours, spiritual high, reality check. Okay. So maybe this is the spiritual high, can change that. It's kind of like a high-low, right? And it seems like someone who's unstable. I mean, join the club, but... All right, one more. Okay, open third eye saw email. So basically what that's saying is that during your spiritual practice, life is like creeping in, or like the matrixy life is like creeping into your spiritual life, where you just can't get control, you can't get peace. Like, you get enlightenment for a little bit, like you go to your yoga session, you get out of your yoga, you come home, and then something reminds you. Okay? So what I would say to this is, like, and you're like reading old texts and stuff like that, is basically understand that your old world is over, and when you get to that high point, basically just let things be. Turn off the news. Just live like what's in front of you. Be the example for other people. Take a break. Okay. That's just the channel messages I'm getting, so do with it what you will. All right, what are we going to do for cards here? Let's go back to the Tarot of Mystical Moments. All right, for Capricorn. We'll do 5 cards, past, present, future, advice, and outcome. All right, Spirit, angels, ancestors, guides, and dimensional beings, readings for Capricorn. Only the best for Capricorn and Rainbow. Thank you so much, Spirit. No reversals, divine inspired. Okay, last reminder, the Mad Hermit Tarot page, which is on Facebook and YouTube. Check that out. Join it up. So like the hermit thing, I have this this beard thing. I have that picture that's on there. Basically, I used to dress up in disguise, and I go to the local dive bar when I was first starting out. Like, well, I mean, I did like parties every once in a while, and I would, you know, maybe go off to a coffee shop every so often. But like, I wanted to like go regular and like, you know, just I wanted to test myself. So I put on that beard, and I knew the owner from my band playing there. And, you know, he said, well, you need a shtick or something like that. And I think he suggested like a Swami hat or something. I was like, no, I get something else. And so I did the beard, and then I put on like a ramen noodle hat, and I had like a skull t-shirt, and I went down there so no one would know who I was. I went out to the back, which is like where all the bikers are and stuff. And I just started doing readings for tips, and just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like the challenge, you know, getting yourself out there to do it. And it was a rite of passage. And maybe the reason why I'm saying to that story is basically we just went through a rite of passage, you know, a lot of us, and we're going into this new world now. So basically that old like ego or that disguise that we had in that old world, that's going to change now. You know, what is that going to be for you? Take another mask from the ancient gallery, right? Walk on down the hall kind of thing. Jim Morrison thing. But it's true in that way. I mean, we're all wearing masks all the time. Like, we're only true to ourselves, mostly. I mean, we can say we're true to other people, but we're always kind of like, you know, we'll never know what's inside other people's minds, and other people will not know what's truly inside of our lives. So, you know, to wear a mask and to challenge our ego and to grow into different ways, that doesn't have to be a negative. Because we're already trying to grow our frequency. You know, we want to strengthen it, but we also want to grow it. We want to become more versatile in experiencing different emotions. That's why we're here. We're collecting emotions for the greater source. Who is us? We're mining emotions like Bitcoin. All right. Recent past for Capricorn. Thank you so much, Spirit. Seven of Wands. Okay? So that's you standing your ground. So for you, this is a point of basically rushing out with your passion, stand your ground against people that want to threaten your boundaries. Having the strength to do it as well. All right? So being calm during a tense situation where you've had to stand your ground. What's present for Capricorn? Page of Pentacles. So you did earn something by sticking up for yourself. And basically, you know, I used to say this when I was in corporate life, and I, you know, speak my mind, is that, you know, if I did get laid off, I would always want to have been true to myself. Like if I played like corporate survivor to the point where, you know, I basically denigrated myself and I kissed everybody's ass, right? And I got fired anyways or laid off, then what would I have? I wouldn't have the fact that I stood my ground. I would just have myself at a coward state. That's not the end. I mean, I could build myself up. You know, I can look at that and say, wow, so the biggest challenge for me is to understand that whether I'm going to live or die, you know, I still have to be myself. Because that's what my frequency is. Because even if death happens, which is just change, right? If I like take a regression, or if I don't like have the faith to be myself, then what was this life for? And that's kind of like what I'm sensing that you've had to go through, where you stand your ground, and then when you do that, basically Spirit is communicating a synchronicity to you that's going to actually be beneficial. So at this point, and maybe that's why I'm channeling that, is basically look for the signs. Calm yourself down with your breathing. Make sure that you can, not just now, but just in general, like, keep your energy as stable as it can be. You know, I always say to do Indian chanting, things of that nature. When you find yourself getting into anxiety overload, bring yourself back down, because the world is going to test you to disrupt your frequency in order for you to not see the synchronicity, because it's a big game down here, right? And the synchronicity is basically going to give you messages on where to go to next. If you clear your mind, Spirit is saying to you, I'm going to give you the gift of knowledge of where to go next, so that you don't have to continually defend yourself. Okay? Now, the way that you can do that is basically at all times maintain a positive attitude. So even if you stub your toe in the middle of the night and it hurts, think of that as a challenge by not getting freaked out. You know, like you drop a piece of food on the ground, or, you know, or something. Don't get upset. Just say, this is life. This happens. And you keep that energy form, then it all adds up. That's what I'm trying to say for manifestation. You can't manifest when you're all, you know, teed off and just bitter, right? Grumpy people don't manifest, or they manifest bad things. But it looks like you're doing well, so just keep that in mind. So you're about to get a prize. What's in the near future, Spirit? Yeah, the star. So just like I said, you're about to get a prize. This is basically the prize. This is a miracle. A hope is happening because you stood your ground. We all get rewarded when we hold our energy. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is what we fear the most. And when we do that, we get rewarded with a new life. And I'm not just saying some prize you get, you know, put your hand in the box and pull out a prize or whatever. It's actually, some rewards are us going into a different phase of our life with our head held high. You know? Sometimes you get challenged after getting the reward, but it's the opportunity to go even higher. You know, what if you stood your ground yourself and you still got laid off from work, but you kept a positive attitude? 2 weeks later, another job, and it becomes a blessing in disguise because that new job is perfect for you. You couldn't see that, and the universe didn't want you to see it, but it wanted to test you to see if you believed that this world was just all mechanical or there was a spiritual element to it. This is highly spiritual right here. This is like having faith in your passions and you being rewarded for that with the star, which is a card of faith. So that's great. So in your near future, basically, make sure that you hold your ground, not in a stubborn way, but be authentic. What is the advice for Capricorn? Queen of Wands. And then we're seeing a theme here, and like the Queen of Wands is showing up again, which is confidence with Source. Recognizing that you are a piece of Source. You're not going to screw over yourself cosmically. Like, you know, they say we have this life like planned out and stuff. Do you think that, you know, you would end up on the side of the road? I mean, you're not there right now, right? I mean, presumably you're watching this. So, you know, do you think all of a sudden it's going to be like a riches to rags story? Do you think maybe those movies where those things happened were in order to suppress people? It's your perspective. You know, if you self-sabotaging yourself, you'll get there. But if that's not what you're even looking at, and you're looking at a different direction, you're naturally going to go towards that direction. Okay, so you put your head up. Again, strength here too, which is the card of the sun. The sun is shining directly on the sunflower right here, which is her faith shining. It's reflecting. So when we become the sun, we reflect the sun, we become a mirror to it. It comes back to us. Okay? It's kind of like positive people get positive things. Negative people, grumpy people get negative things. What's the outcome, Spirit? Outcome for Capricorn. 10 of Cups. Emotional fulfillment. You're on your way. This is perfect. That sacrifice that you made in the past to change this direction, because you had faith, leads to the Star, to the Queen of Wands, to the 10 of Cups. Emotional fulfillment, close to the source, and feeling like a miracle has happened. So hold tight for that. And definitely let me know in the comments going forward, if you're a Capricorn and this is happening for you, because I did see some astrology too where Capricorn's doing really well. And you got your full moon at the end of the month too. So like your power moon is happening. So the new moon, I think, hits in the middle of the month. So find out when the new moon is. I'll probably have to get these dates better. Maybe for the love reading, I'll make it towards the new moon. But there's like 3 moons in this month. There's the full moon that we had at the beginning. And then there's the full moon at the end. In the middle, I think there's the new moon, right? So that's why the moon's happening in this month. That's why there's a blue moon, like once in a blue moon, right? This is a special circumstance. So for you, towards the end of the month, so a full moon is not what you wish upon. It's actually your harvest. Okay, the new moon is when you place your wishes and you start to put your energy towards that. It's not like, oh, Spirit, please give me this. It's actually, I want this. Please show me how to get it. And you still have to work, right? You still have to, get off the couch and go get it. But if you actually direct your mind, Spirit is going to say, just make movements towards it. And success will happen. Like people think like you have to bag it and have it be perfect, 10 out of 10, and then you get your manifestation. Actually, in a lot of cases, Spirit just wants you to try. You take one step and Spirit matches that. I find a lot in life too where just do something. It'll get better on its own. I wanted to do this, so I just get on camera and just start doing it. And if it's meant to be, then it's going to be great. It's going to attract more, right? But you have to take your chance. You have to take a shot, right? All right, 8 of Pentacles is underneath, saying that you worked at this. You worked hard to create this, the butterfly here, which is transformation. You worked hard to create this transformation. So enjoy it, but don't rest on it. Always say, Spirit, give me more. Because the universe is infinite in its abundance. Ultimately there is no rule. Like, we think that everything's got to stay the same, but honestly, time and space is evolving just as much as society is right now. We have to recognize that too, right? The quickening. We can read religious texts. We see that, when things reach a point where it's got to start over, time and space kind of speed up. And, think about the dimensionary thing where we go from 3D to 4D to 5D. What does that mean? That means that, this existence could be becoming more of like mind focused. Think of AI. A lot of it is not us doing the physical work anymore. It's actually having the mental questions to ask or the mental ways of directing. Whereas, like a dream where we think, we're in the kitchen, and also when we think about the living room, we're in the living room. It becomes directed with our mind. And that's what this world is becoming more and more like. Less the hard physical part of it, Think about how we went from like, AI movies from like really the old school movies, or where now it's more mechanical versus like physical. I don't know. Just thoughts. All right, let me get 1 or 2 clarifications. Actually, I'm going to go, because the Star was in this deck. I haven't used this deck in a while. Stardust Seed Oracle. I'm going to get a message or two for Capricorn to end the readings for the Cardinal Signs for May 2026. Okay. And the other videos were posted on YouTube, but they're also on the Mad Hermit Tarot page on Facebook. So check those out. if things are, if it's resonating with you, let me know. Post that. It's great. I mean, the thing about general readings is that you get pieces of the information. If you see it and you like something, that you're meant to see it. But if you want more of a personal reading, then I can actually pinpoint things a little bit better, historically, when I do that personally. And I can get that through a video reading too. And I do offer that through my page, the first one, just, so you have an understanding of what it's like. And then we can, if you want to go from there, we can talk about that. And my rates are very good. Let's put it that way. But the first one's free, so I'd like you to understand it without any pressure. All right, let's get some oracles for Capricorn and the reading spirit. Angels, Ancestors, guides, and spiritual beings. What does Capricorn need to know? Thank you so much, Spirit. Universal love. Tap into universal love that exists within you and around you. So, when the world is shitty, when everything's a mess, the best thing that we can do is actually control ourselves and set the vibration for others. Don't go out there to change the world, to get arrested at a protest or something like that. The best thing you can do is actually control your energy and be an example to others. There's so much manipulation out there now anyways. It'll drive you crazy. This is my perspective on it. But basically it's saying, be the love that you wish to have in this world. If we all ignore the negativity, the games, that we clearly see it's all a game at this point. If we just ignore it, we don't give it attention, it goes away, believe it or not. You just say no. That's the strongest thing you can ever do. All right, what else we got? Untethered soul. Free yourself from limiting beliefs. Allow your spirit to soar. Just like we were talking about. They give you a cage saying, oh, this is the drama of this world. Just leave it behind. In my mind is free. Even if I'm in a prison, my mind is free. And that's what I need to project and show other people. Last one, Spirit. Journey of souls. Your soul's journey is profound. Understand to realize your purpose. What is your purpose? What are you bringing to the table? Not like what you can do, but what are you going to influence in other people? I mean, maybe you don't influence anybody at all. Nobody has to be like a shining star or anything. Maybe you're an influence to yourself. You're able to hold it together so you can gain more in this world and not let the negativity seep in and destroy that. Last one, bottom of the deck. Evolve your brain. Train your mind to transform your life. The power lies within you. That sounds like just what we were talking about. I like how that works, doesn't it? That's synchronicity. So I'll read that one more time. Train your mind to transform your life. The power lies within you. So basically, you are transforming your life by transforming your mind. So this is like this is where the projector comes out to show the world that's like projected onto this world comes from the mind. So the way that I see something, I could see this as being like, the worst literature ever or the best literature ever. I can get something out of it or whatnot. It's all in my perspective. I control that perspective. Yeah. I'm not sure how else to put it. Kind of reaching at this point, so I'm probably going to stop the video. But again, lastly, I think I'm going to do love readings towards the middle of the month. Watch out for that Kazemi in the middle of the month, which Mercury and the Sun, I guess, are at a square or something of that nature. All right, well, thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.